What a surprise. All right.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a surprise video. The return of the Lich King. Well, being real with you, it's not like he's been gone for that long. He was very active during Legion, and of course with us paying him a visit in Battle for Azeroth. Indeed, all of that had led to much speculation, with it being clear that the Lich King's patch 7.0 reintroduction would be paving the way for a future story.
Right.
Well, today we are seeing the next steps there. And by the way, if you're interested in the obvious elephant in the room here, do be sure to watch yesterday's video, which covers that in a lot of detail. Okay, patch 8.3's data mining has been, I'd say, absolutely wild thus far, dropping more lore reveals than we can really keep up with. Now, the first major discovery here, of course credit to Wowhead, was that the allied race Death Knight textures had been found. Now, you might just be thinking, oh, that's just a fan-requested feature, but there's far more to it. So, allied races can't be Death Knights right now because of lore reasons. The Death Knights of Azeroth were risen and were robbed of their free will by the Arthas Lich King, only to be freed by Tyrion, then, of course, that sparking off an alliance between the Ebon Blade and the Argent Dawn. But
I don't think that the lore is why Blizzard hasn't made the allied races Death Knights. I think that it's simply because they don't want to deal with it. I really don't think the lore is the limiting factor here. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's my opinion.
Past that, though, people aren't making Death Knights in the current day. Well, you know, bar the Four Horsemen in Legion. Now, that's why I say the Pandaren couldn't be Death Knights. So, for there to be an allied race Death Knight, that means that somebody's got to be creating them. Who? Well, I think it's rather clear, the Lich King. Why do I say that? Well, because Wowhead also found an encrypted Lich King sound file. Now, here's the deal. Blizz only encrypt important stuff, like the 8.2.5 cinematics or, say, promotional mounts. So that means that for them to encrypt this shows that it's a pretty darn major reveal, one that maybe if we got it now would color our perception of the future. Indeed, if it's tied into, say, a BlizzCon announcement, then getting an early glimpse would steal their thunder. And this absolutely is a major concern for Blizz across the board. Patch 8.3 will release after BlizzCon, but it will be in testing before BlizzCon. And of course, BlizzCon will be an expansion announcement, so it's a tricky position for them to be in. Now, more on that sound file in a bit, but the first thing I'd like to talk about is, well, this. Death Knight, Lightforged Draenei. That's a bit wild. I've got to wonder how the process works, especially because it would not be like somebody being a paladin in life and a Death Knight in death. The Lightforged have had their bodies infused with the light's essence, like all the tattoos, the stuff that's going on with them. If you actually read into the lore, it can be an extremely painful process. Now, what does that make me think of? Who does it make me think of? Well, obviously, Kalia Menethil, our new light-created undead who will likely
still
be
pretty
Forsaken.
weird, man.
Of course, who's Kalia's brother, Arthas. So I've got to wonder if Blizzard are going to acknowledge that becoming a Death Knight for a Lightforged would be a really hardcore experience. Now, this is not all in terms of Lich King references. So we've got Talia, right? She was a new character introduced in Legion. She is the daughter of BOLVAR. She's actually aware of her parentage, but she's not ultimately aware of BOLVAR's fate. Now,
is this gonna be like a fucking Darth Vader situation where, you know, Bolvar is like, I'm your father, and she's like, no! He's like, that's right, and I'm the Lich King too. I can just only imagine this is what's gonna happen, man. And I guess it's like, okay, yeah, whatever, that's fine. But at the same time, I'd kind of like to see, something a little bit more unique. But yeah, I feel like that'd be kind of like an awkward thing, like, hi, Dad. And it's the Lich King, you know, like, I don't know, I was thinking it'd be funny. Hopefully Blizzard does it the right way.
Keeping like it a secret from her. After all, Bolvar did command everybody to say that the Lich King had died and that Bolvar had died with him. Now, as much as we're going to be taking that literally,
they made the statue
I
to
think
tell
it is
everybody
also
that.
worth bringing up the double meaning there.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure that, well, Bolvar, as we knew him, is dead. Being merged with the Lich King, you know, sitting atop the frozen throne, and the Helm of Damnation that even shows him visions that he admits he can't really understand. Well, that changes people. I mean, Bolvar commanded his Death Knights to steal Tyrion's corpse in order to raise him as a Death Knight. That's not something that regular Bolvar would do. So when he says that...
Well, it's also not something that evil Bolvar would do. Like, Bolvar wanted to raise Tyrion because he wanted to use Tyrion to fight the Burning Legion. So even though Bolvar was doing something, it's like, is raising Tyrion kind of a dick move? Yeah, I mean, I guess. But at the same time, he's trying to raise Tyrion to help him out again. So is it really that bad of a problem? It was a good thing. Yeah, it was a good thing. Like Bolvar, it's like the new Lich King is like Illidan. Illidan had good intentions, but he's just a fucking asshole, right? And he was like, you know what? He's like, you know what? If this is a problem, it's like, oh, your arm hurts, cut off your arm, right? It's like, yeah, it's a solution, not a good solution, but yeah, points for trying at least. That's basically what's going on here. I really don't think that the Lich King is like this fundamentally evil force. And to say that like, oh, his mind has been corrupted as time goes on, that is such a cheap ass that is such a cheap ass bit of fucking bullshit, dude. And here's why. Is because if that happens, then people are going to be like, well, how are we supposed to know that? Like, it's going to come out of nowhere for people, because last time they thought of it, they're like, oh, we were talking to Lich King. That's the guy that gave me my legendary. That guy's awesome. Or my artifact weapon. That's my boy, dude. It's the Lich King. That's basically like the High Lord of the Paladins, except for he's the Low Lord, you know, or it's a fucking Lich King, okay?
Bolvar Fordragon died with him, well, I think there's a good degree of truth there. Now, going back to 8.3, at a point after the conclusion of the Ny'alotha events, Jaina and Anduin are talking about the future and their desire to bring justice to Sylvanas. However, Anduin notices a messenger from Kul'Tiras, and he proceeds to ask Jaina about it. So, Jaina reveals that it was a letter from a certain eager cadet asking to see Stormwind and learn more of her father. So, it's obviously Talia. Now, Anduin says that, just to tell her that it's not a good time for visitors. That's kind of interesting, because Jaina actually thinks that she should hear the truth, but then Anduin reminds her of the secret that they swore to keep. Still, Jaina does respect his authority and says that it is Anduin's call. Now, this is very interesting. Clearly, Anduin is kicking the can down the road here, because earlier in BFA, he actually told her that when time permits, she could come to Stormwind and that he would share stories about
He's gonna fuck the shit out of her. Like, that's what's gonna happen. Like, everybody knows it. It's obvious. Right? Like, that's clearly what's going to happen. Like, as I said, everybody knows. And it's going to make things interesting, too, right? Because, like, imagine, like, you're dating this girl, and then her dad turns out to be the Lich King. I don't know. That seems... That sucks. Like, for what... It just simply sucks, man. Relatable? Yeah, I guess so.
Father. Hell, I mean, this would be much to the chagrin of the Randuin campaigners, but a lot of people have been speculating about the two of them becoming a thing, and that would be obviously in line with, well, patch 8.3, which seems to be a patch where, everyone's getting some. I'd say who, but I do like to keep these patch lore videos very confined to the title topic, so that somebody, say, doesn't click on a Lich King video, only to have maybe the end of Ny'alotha be spoiled. So anyway, we've got this talk of Bolvar and Talia. We've got allied race Death Knights. We've got encrypted voice files. Death sure is important to World of Warcraft. I think we need to go back, though, to the Vol'jin questline of Battle for Azeroth, because just before we travel to Icecrown, Samdi says this: "It be more than a pretty throne, it be an anchor that holds this world to the next." So, yeah, clearly it's a gateway to the Shadowlands, or something to that effect.
Wait, what?
Now, we know that Sylvanas wants everything to serve death. Now, we don't know if she's referring to a particular death entity, or death itself, or that she just wants to master death, but either way, the Lich King is not a fan of her, saying that she pretty much upsets the balance. Now, given that Blizzard are setting this up, you know, just before the next expansion, comes out, I think it's highly possible that this could be a feature in it. Now, if we were going to the Shadowlands, which I think I think that's a given, right? Based on all the lore we've got thus far, and where we last left off with Vol'jin, then the Frozen Throne is clearly going to be important, with it being an anchor between worlds. Now, what form the Shadowlands stuff could take, we don't know right now. Could it be an expansion? Yeah. Could it just be a B-plot?
Okay. If they do a Lich King expansion, Blizzard, I don't care how you get us there. I don't care if it's like, you know what? Arthas came back. Like, how? I don't know. A surprise. And he killed Bolvar and he's Lich King again. We've got to do it all over again. I'm like, all right, fine. All right, you know what, Blizzard? Let's do it again. Let's have another Wrath of the Lich King, too. It's like, who gives a fuck? Like, I want to have another Scourge expansion, and I don't care if they make a little bit of a contrived bullshit lore explanation to make it happen. I want to have more armor with more skulls on it. That's my goal. And if they have to add in some bullshit, the only thing, I don't want Sylvanas to be the Lich King, okay? Or the Lich Queen, whatever. Like, I think it's going to be stupid. It's going to be something everybody's predicted. I don't think that's going to happen, because also Bolvar, like, Bolvar's fucking God. Like, I mean, he's like the Lich King. Like, I'm sorry, but Sylvanas, as powerful as she is, you're not going to beat the Lich King. You know why? Because he's the Lich King. It seems ridiculous to me. But besides that, I would be okay with it, as long as that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's also possible. Either way, though, we need to talk about the character of the Lich King.
Yeah.
Now, I already mentioned the Tyrion situation from the Legion campaign, but there is more, because in patch 7.2, he sends the Death Lord off in search of something powerful.
Yeah.
And this leads you to the Ruby
Oh,
Sanctum,
yeah.
where the Lich King says that you can either kill the dragons there or spare them.
What the
And if you kill the
fuck?
dragons, he says that you are empty inside, just like he is. Now, what happens next is a bit
What
more spooky,
the
because you
fuck?
make your way to where the red dragon that you're about to raise up is lying, only for you to come upon Feral Scourge. Now, the Lich King threatens you here. He says that if you win against the Feral Scourge, yeah, you can claim the dragon, but if you fail, that he will claim Arcturus, noting that he has plans for the Citadel. Again, pretty spooky. Then finally in BFA, he informed Vol'jin that Vol'jin was neither damned nor was he undead, and that he did not belong in the Frozen Throne. Then Aer even said that Vol'jin had been touched by the Hand of Valor, so as you can see, yet more mysteries here with these death characters and with the Lich King's motivations. I think, as you can see here, the Lich King is cold, but I don't think he's evil. I think he knows his place in the world and essentially doesn't have emotions. Like, he informs Vol'jin that his domain is not right for him. He threatens the Death Lord, but he doesn't seem to be anti-Azeroth. He doesn't approve of Sylvanas, thinking that she upsets the balance of things. So I think this clearly means that his duty is to preserve a sort of balance. But that basically to do that...
That's the whole reason why Bolvar was the Lich King, is because you have to have the Lich King to control the Scourge so they don't just go fucking apeshit. And so that's what makes sense. That was the entire purpose that Bolvar had of becoming the Lich King in the beginning. So this whole thing makes complete sense. Now, how do I feel about the Lich King being a neutral evil? I don't know about that, man. Like, I feel like the Lich King's a bad guy. Like, I feel like he's a bad guy because he's the Lich King. Maybe this is just me, you know, like, holding on to things from back in the day or whatever. But, yeah, I feel like the Lich King's kind of like the bad guy.
He's going to be pragmatic and emotionless. Like, you'd think the Death Lord would be important to him, but no, he was like, well, if you die, I'm just going to take Arcturus, and I've got plans for it.
Yeah.
Now, there could be one thing that could change him, though, and that's Talia. Now, the reason why here is that this could be playing into an aspect of Arthas that we didn't see, even though so many characters wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
They wanted a bit of the old Arthas to break through and fight back, and we sort of saw that happen after his defeat. Now, in this case, I would wonder if her journeying to the Frozen Throne and confronting her father would change him. You know, if that happens, I think his reaction would really define the lore, because it could go really badly, right? She could get killed, raised up as a Death Knight, something like that. It could, though, go well. It could warm the heart of the Lich King, maybe to the degree where it would increase the influence that Bolvar's old personality and attachments actually have on the new Lich King persona. Now, do remember here that Arthas merged with the Lich King in year 22 and emerged in year 27. That was a 5-year melt. Bolvar took up the crown during year 27. We currently believe that Legion ended on year 33, so...
I don't even know if they have a timeline for this game at all. I have no fucking idea how any of this is supposed to work. Like, that is just so beyond me.
Probably BFA's year 34. And then around year 33, we saw Bolvar Lich King be a lot more active in the story. Technically, though, he's 2 years late when it comes to actually standing up off his throne and doing things. So, could all this tie into an expansion? Well, I think that Vol'jin is going to be a Zeratul-like character if you're a StarCraft fan. You know, when we last left him, he was beginning a quest for knowledge into the Shadowlands with the goal of working out who had interfered with his soul and who had influenced him to name Sylvanas as the war chief. So, he's likely going to spark off being the harbinger of something, right? He's going to have major lore drops for him. He'll probably be the herald of an upcoming crisis, likely one to do with the Shadowlands. We'll probably then see Blizzard cash in on the current hunt for Sylvanas, and then with, you know, just all that we've established so far with the Shadowlands, which I've talked about in other videos. So, is this the next expansion? To To be honest with you, I've got no idea, right? It certainly could be, right? It would not be surprising given how much Blizzard have teased during BFA, how heavily they've teased it. I think we'd likely see the Lich King be an allied character in that he, you know, he's going to want the best for Azeroth, I think, but he's going to be inherently untrustworthy to us because, you know, he won't really be at his core emotionally driven. He's not...
I don't think that the Lich King should be on our side because he's the Lich King. That's my opinion. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. I can agree with Sargeras being allied with us because I just feel like that makes a little bit more sense with like destroying all the planets and everything and like his purpose. But the Lich King, like, fuck that, man. Fuck that, man. It's Arthas, not Bolvar. It's not Arthas or Bolvar. It's the fucking Lich King. You know what? He's got the fucking helmet on. He's the Lich King, dude. He's not Bolvar. If he was Bolvar, they'd say Bolvar. They'd say call him the Lich King because he's the Lich King. Fuck, man. Like, equal with Sargeras? No, Sargeras is different. But, like, what I mean is that, like, they're going to break Sargeras out of jail with Illidan and a couple of expansions to have us fight the Void Lords, right? Everybody knows this? Like, this isn't a surprise to anyone, right? I mean, everybody just kind of knows this is going to happen. Okay, yeah, I thought so.
Going to respect things like life as much, I suspect. I think Talia will be a major character, Vol'jin will be a major character, and the various related Shadowlands entities will also be major characters. That's the like of Aegir, Bomsamdi, maybe even Odin, probably like Muzala, maybe even Hakar. Now, I'm going to leave you with some tidbits here, right? This is really fun. Neither Ner'zhul nor Arthas fully unleashed the undead. And that was confirmed by Chris Metzen ages ago. And Chris even said that we should speculate as to why. Now, of course, Chronicle later did suggest that it could have been that they were aware of the existential threats to the planet and planned to use the undead sort of in that capacity, but still a bit of a spooky thing. And I've got another tidbit for you, because whenever Bolvar put the crown on his head, Blizzard played the main part of Yogg-Saron's theme, and Blizzard later said that there was a deeper connection there between those two characters, but that they did not do it justice in-game. So,
I didn't know that.
What I've teased you with, I'll now take my leave, but, well, let's just play the clip. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
Okay.
That's extremely interesting. That is extremely interesting. Yogg-Saron? Whoa, what's going on here, boys?
I cannot believe that they planned it that far in advance. I'm sorry, I can't believe it. Like, there's there's no way, dude. There's no There's no fucking way.
What if they did? I mean, they do call their studio or whatever they do when they come up with this shit. Remember, they call it their dojo. And they don't allow outside influences in their dojo.
No negativity.
It could very well have happened.
Holy shit, man. Wow. The more the more the expansion is death themed, the better. I absolutely love it. I hope we get necromancers and so many bony and wrath themed armor sets and weapons, because that shit is the best. Yo, true, dude. Big true. Very linked in Yogg-Saron and Yogg. Actual Icecrown Citadel was literally built out of Yogg-Saron's blood, Serenite. I guess that does make sense too. Wow. Okay. I need my comment and I want it now. Okay, that's great. I feel sorry for the guy who dates Talia Fordragon, Lich King. Yeah, that's about right. Fuck, man. So are we getting a Lich King expansion? The last thing that Chris Metzen worked on was the planning for the intro to BFA. They do plan many years in the future. Yeah, but like, I don't know, man. Like, that's like the Lich King. What the fuck? Warlocks are literally necromancers? No, they're not. Warlocks are not necromancers. Warlocks summon demons, necromancers raise undead. They're two different things.